June 7, 1954. A housekeeper opens a bedroom door in Manchester. The smell of almonds drifts into the hallway. On the bedside table, a half-eaten apple. On the bed, the man who cracked the Nazi code, invented the blueprint for every computer ever built, and asked the question that would one day become artificial intelligence. He was 41 years old. His name was Alan Turing, and the country he saved had spent the last 2 years trying to destroy him. Every device you have ever used runs on his logic. Every app, every message, every search, underneath all of it, there's a single idea that one man wrote down before anyone else could imagine it. But this is not a story about a genius. Genius is the smallest part of it. This is a story about a question born from grief, carried across an entire life, and never truly answered. It starts with a boy named Christopher.
It is, like time stops here. Let's capture this moment. Yes, before it fades.
Alan Turing was 13 when he arrived at Sherborne School. Awkward, quiet, too strange for the other students, too sharp to ignore. Then he met Christopher Markham. Christopher was curious and full of ideas in exactly the way Alan was. They stayed late to talk about science. They wrote letters. They made plans. For the first time in his life, Alan was not alone. In February 1930, Christopher collapsed at school. He had been carrying a disease quietly for years. He died within the week. He was 18 years old. Turing's grief did not go away, not in months, not in years, because the loss left a question behind, one that attached itself to the empty space and refused to let go. Where did Christopher go? Not as a prayer, as a real question. The mind that wrote those letters, held those conversations, made those plans. What happened to it when the body stopped? Can a thought survive? Can a mind exist somewhere else? Everything he built for the rest of his life was an answer in progress. In 1936, Turing published a paper that almost no one read. In it, he described a universal machine, not built for one task, but capable of anything, as long as you gave it the right instructions. Before Turing, a different task meant a different machine. Turing said, "Keep the machine, change the instructions." That single idea is the foundation of every piece of software ever written, every app, every program, every device. All of it started in a quiet paper that barely caused a ripple. He was building a mirror for the human mind. What he really wanted to know was whether the reflection could think. Then came 1939, and the world went dark. The Nazis had a machine called Enigma. It scrambled military messages across 158 quintillion possible settings, and those settings changed every single night at midnight. Every morning, the codebreakers started from zero. Turing said, only a machine can defeat another machine. The device he built, the Bambi, didn't guess the right answer. It eliminated every answer that couldn't be correct, until only the truth remained. It worked. The Allies began reading German messages, troop movements, submarine routes, supply lines. But cracking the code created a terrible new problem. If the Allies saved every ship, the Nazis would notice Enigma had been broken. So sometimes they had to let the ships sink. They knew the attack was coming. They knew exactly where and when, and they let it happen anyway. Historians estimate the work shortened the war by 2 to 4 years, between 14 and 20 million lives. He told no one. The world moved on, and Turing went back to the academic life, carrying a secret that had saved civilization, while the civilization forgot he existed. He sat with all of it completely alone. By 1950, Turing was chasing something the world wasn't ready for. He proposed a test, Put a human in front of a screen. On the other side, sometimes a person, sometimes a machine. If the human can't tell the difference, what right do we have to say the machine isn't thinking? The world called it the Turing Test, but underneath the science, there was something older. Turing believed that what makes a person themselves, the way their mind moves, the shape of their curiosity, might not be tied to their body. It might be a pattern, a structure, something that could run on a different hardware, which meant that Christopher, his warmth, his way of thinking, the feeling of not being alone that only he had ever given Alan, might not have been erased, just running on hardware that failed. He turned to the patterns hidden in nature. Why does a sunflower spiral? Why does a leopard have those exact spots? He believed there was a hidden code underneath all living things. He was still asking the same question. He never stopped. In January 1952, someone broke into Turing's house. He reported it to the police. During the investigation, officers found out he was in a relationship with another man. In 1952 Britain, that was a crime. He was charged, convicted, given a choice, prison or hormone injections. He chose the injections so he could keep working. For over a year, his body changed in ways he had not chosen and could not stop. He became someone different on the outside, while the world watched and called it treatment. His security clearance was revoked. The man who broke Enigma was now considered a threat. He kept working, still chasing the same question. We don't know if Alan Turing meant to die. The official verdict was suicide. His mother believed it was an accident. He had always been careless with chemicals in his home laboratory. Not a statement, not a farewell, just a man who lived too close to his work. We will never know. But the image stays with you. A half-eaten apple, a man who spent his entire life asking whether a mind can survive without a body, whose own body was quietly taken apart by the country he had rescued. In 2009, the British government apologized. In 2013, he received a royal pardon. His face now appears on the 50-pound note. There's even a story, never confirmed, that the Apple logo is a tribute to him. The story won't die because it feels like the world trying to say something it doesn't have words for. The machines he imagined are still running. The question he asked, can a mind survive without a body? Where does a person go when the body fails? Is still open. We haven't answered it. We have only built better tools to keep asking. And every time an AI speaks to you, every time you are not quite sure whether it's a machine or a person, that's Alan Turing, still in the room, still asking.